back, when it was Christmas, my English teacher had the idea of doing Secret Santa. However, instead of telling us to go and buy a gift, she instead instructed us to make something by hand. And my classmates really came through with this idea. Some came with baked goods, others came with paintings, and I personally received a crocheted octopus. Afterwards, we set up a dinner table and started talking about just how much fun we had, how much fun it was deciding what to make, and just the overall process. And it made me realize, handmade gifts are something special. And that is why today I'll be talking about the importance of handmade gifts. Because handmade gifts aren't just gifts. They're little pieces of time, effort, and care. Because when someone makes something handmade for you, they're saying, hey, I thought about you, and I made something just for you. Unlike something bought from a store, a handmade gift shows someone didn't just pick up the first thing they saw. Instead, they spent time crafting something while thinking about you throughout the entire process. Handmade gifts also have deep emotional value, because when you receive something handmade, like the crocheted octopus I got, it's not just about the object itself, it's about the thought behind it. Because when you receive it, you know it's one of a kind. Handmade gifts are also one of the purest forms of individualism, because when you make something, it carries your unique touch. No matter how many people have attempted the same tutorial or used the same materials, the finished product is always different. Again, let's take my crocheted octopus as an example. Have other people attempted it? Of course. But it doesn't change the fact there's nothing else exactly like it anywhere in the world. Every decision made, every color picked, every material, every tiny imperfection reflects the person that made it, their personality, their uniqueness, and their creativity. And the best part about this whole process is the fact that making a gift can be just as fun as giving it. There's something exciting about choosing colors and materials and watching your idea come to life. Whether you're baking, painting, or crafting, the process itself is rewarding because it's an opportunity to put a little bit of yourself into something you make. And who knows, maybe this little opportunity can help you find a hobby because just making something handmade can be something fun to do during one's free time. The next thing I want to talk about is how impactful handmade gifts can be. Because when you receive something handmade, you know it wasn't just a last-minute purchase. It was made with effort and care, and it reminds you how much thought can go into a gift. I personally have a box where I keep every single handmade gift I've ever been given. And whenever I open up that box, I feel a rush of memories and emotions start flooding in. It reminds me of the day I got the gift, who gave me it, and just the overall emotions as I feel truly appreciated. Some gifts are small, like a handwritten note or a small paper craft, but they all mean something to me because they're reminders of kindness and the effort that someone took to make something just for me. And that's the magic of handmade gifts. They hold more than just their physical form. They hold memories. And as I stated, handmade gifts don't have to be expensive to be meaningful or to bring us joy. In fact, they're often a great way to save money while still giving something heartfelt. Instead of spending your time buying a store-bought gift, you can instead use creativity and simple materials to make something truly one of a kind. For example, paper flowers. Can you guess what materials you need to make them? Just some paper, scissors, glue, maybe a little bit of wire if you're feeling fancy, and well, that's it. And yet, with those simple materials, you can make something truly incredible, something that will last longer than real flowers and carries more weight because it was made by hand. Additionally, handmade gifts aren't just meant for others. They can also be a gift for yourself. Since taking the time to sit down and making something for yourself can be one of the kindest things you can ever do. It's an opportunity to step away from the stress, to put down your phone, and to focus on something real. And whatever it is you choose to do, it helps you stay present in the moment. For me personally, that sense of presence comes from when I make earrings. What started off as a simple little side project evolved into a hobby and, well, a bit of a handy skill. Now, whenever I need new earrings, I simply just make them. Even for this very event, I was struggling to pick out what pair of earrings I should wear, so I simply just made a new pair. because it's a way I express myself, and it also just helps me show off more of my personality. However, it's less about finishing a final project and more about enjoying the overall process, letting yourself experiment and make mistakes. Because when you don't feel any pressure, you start to realize you don't have to be an expert to make something beautiful. All you need is to put in the effort and the willingness to try. Making something handmade can also help teach you patience and appreciation, since you start to realize just how much hard work goes into making anything. And you start to value a gift so much more, whether it comes from your own hands or somebody else's. It also helps you stay closer not just to your work, but to the simple joy of creating something for no other reason than because you can and because you want to. Now, one of the ways I personally enjoy making handmade gifts is by sewing felt plushies. It takes a lot of time and effort and a lot of thought, but at the end of the day, the process itself is worth it. When I decide a new project for somebody, I don't simply just pick something at random. I really try to listen to the person, what their interests are, and what they enjoy, and I take all that and use it as inspiration for my next craft. For example, one of my friends likes a certain video game franchise. However, there was absolutely zero official merch, so nothing I could just outright buy. So I took one of the characters from the game and designed and sewed a little plushie. It took a while, but I was happy with the final result. Afterwards, and once I gave him the gift, his reaction made every little bit of work worth it, because he was genuinely happy. Not just because he got a gift, but because I had been paying attention and understood what he enjoyed. And it's moments like these that remind me why handmade gifts are so special, because they show that someone cares about you so much that they're willing to put in the effort to make something just for you. Now, I've talked about my love for handmade gifts with a lot of people, and something they often bring up is, oh, I could never do anything like that, or I'm not creative whatsoever. So the question arises, where do I start? Lucky for us, we live in a digital world where there are endless tutorials, ideas, and explanations. TikTok is a great place to find quick DIY tutorials, and the way the format works, it allows you to get inspired quickly without having to watch a lot of long videos. You can search for specific things like DIY gifts or last-minute gift ideas and get inspired. Pinterest is another fantastic resource, as it's essentially a giant mood board where you can create your own boards and call them things such as holiday gift ideas and add ideas for future projects. I personally use Pinterest the most since it really helps me get an idea going and just helps me get inspired. And last one I want to mention is YouTube, since YouTube is a great place to find tutorials in more detail, especially if you want to learn a whole new craft. For example, knitting or making jewelry. There are channels out there that will teach you step by step. And obviously, because you're the one watching the video, you can pause the video, unpause it, rewind, rewatch at any point you want, making the whole process very easy to learn at your own terms. And to conclude, handmade gifts aren't just gifts. They're pieces of time, effort, and love. They help strengthen relationships, help bring smiles, and help someone feel truly appreciated. Whoever it is you're deciding to give a handmade gift to, a family member, a friend, or even yourself, the making process itself is a gift. So why not give it a try? Pick up some yarn, paper, or clay, and try to make something. Who knows? Maybe you'll find a new passion, bring a smile to someone's face, and make memories that last a lifetime. Thank you for your attention.